everybody, welcome to game number 3 in the Casuals tournament. This time, as you can see by that yellow, we are on Io. This game we have EvilDiablo, Collinize, Pavlos, and Zorbaz. I'm Philothanic. That voice you heard in the background is Gameslayer. What do you think about this map, Gameslayer?
It feels really big compared to the last one, the Zoltar map. We were in the corner of series. This time we've got
it's kind of a
we've got a lot of stuff
Zoltar-ish map, but a little bit nicer.
The place, so we've got quite a bit of scrolling to do with do. We have one single very high carbon, which won't be useful at all for the non-existent scavenge. Look at the silicons, because we've got some silicon player here. We have silicons in really good places for some nomads.
Yeah,
right
especially
now,
with those
some
really
uranium.
cheap electronics prices, those nomads could go first.
That's true.
Going with a safe play with a
lot
robot.
of cheap across the board. Yep. Diablo going in straight away. He's guy, high aluminum, very high silicon starts. You can't really say no to that. And the electronics, he's got his production going up. We've got 2 robotics coming in from Pavlos and Zorbaz. I feel like this could make some plays here if they can find a good water spot. But nope, we're going for an expansive instead. An interesting spot. They're going to be using basalt.
Yep, going for basalt is a good option for expansives.
I mean, it's a good option, but very high iron tiles. Some of them next to, like the one just below him, Fraser, right next to a what do you call these? A cave. So he could have had 2 very first. What's that? 7.5 iron a second at the start of the game.
Yeah, unfortunately, that wouldn't last long. 500 until it diminishes. We do have
true,
a
but you
couple
basically have all the iron you need.
Players in HQ2, as you'd expect. The robot and the nomad upgrading first. EvilDiablo moving directly into some solar condensers and a nuclear plant, along with some carbon. Zorbaz.
I will be sorry for Zorbaz. Zorbaz, when his stuff diminishes, he's only got a low aluminium, and then his other 2 things, whilst power are also low, they will die off very soon. Diablo going into water.
Yes, I mentioned that.
As an interesting choice. Sorry, not water, oxygen. My mistake. This is Io. Still very interesting. Considering oxygen's not that expensive right now. Usually you'll see people going to fuel, but
fuel's not. Oxygen's more expensive than fuel. However, the price per building's about the same. Power's actually not a bad idea to go in HQ2 in this map, it doesn't seem, because everything is so cheap. Chems wouldn't be a bad idea. If you have aluminum near you, that would be great.
I mean, you are seeing Collinize. He is going into power right now as well, which going into some basalt as well. Why does everyone like basalt here? The basalt, the things you get from basalt right now.
Unfortunately, you're breaking up again. Gameslayer only catching.
There's nothing I can do about that, I guess. It's just...
Yeah.
It'll happen sometimes.
You have Zorbaz first, HQ3. Shipping in a lot of metal across the map. Not in anything that makes Zorbaz money. Just going straight into those upgrade resources. Has 1 nuclear plant to try and keep the edge off of his debt, but is moving into...
It is so expensive to put more down right now.
Carbon. Yeah, 9.2k to put down. But power is 200, so you'd think it's actually worthwhile. EvilDiablo,
Zorbaz,
also
yep.
HQ2.
Diablo making the right choice here. He's not going into more silicon. In fact, he's selling out simply because everyone's in basalt. They are just overproducing silicon like crazy for him, which will be very nice. Pavlos finally upgrades to HQ3 as well. Those basalt platforms take a while to construct, and they don't produce anything of value. So took a very long time for him to get to HQ3. Unfortunately, almost too close, because the expansive is just slightly dipping on his heels there. Fuel now at $52 though. You want to make some of these ion collectors.
Yeah. Pavlos moving into an ion collector. Collinize HQ3 has 3 claims. Looks like they're moving into some ion collectors. There's going to... The amount of ion fuel going to be doubled by this radiation storm for another 33 seconds, so most of these iron collectors won't actually come up in time.
Also interesting to see that the metal mines of Zorbaz, one of his metal mines is currently 11 out of 10 on the iron, just saying. But yeah, they are losing quite a bit of money due to shipping purely because of the radiation storm right now.
Yeah.
Doubling the cost of shipping to $110 of power for one of those metal mines.
Not fun. EvilDiablo going all the way at already HQ4, making so much money off of these aluminum tiles that are right next to his base.
And the
still
ion collectors use the first one into ion. He was able to get the cheap carbon and use that for the ion.
Yeah,
he's even going into a lot more carbon across the map as well. Network's virus, though, comes down, does virus out the fact that the solar condensers are now forced to stay around during the day, which I don't think he really has a problem with it, but he's already at HQ5 to other people's HQ3. Now, this is what you want to see as a nomad in terms of your upgrades in time. Aluminium is $110. He needs to crush that price. He needs to go into some good late game stuff now. What do you go into? What space elevators like right now?
Good late game stuff. How about purchasing an expansive?
I mean, that's fair. That is very fair. He's quite close into that right now. I mean, the expansive player is not able to make very much money. Their main source of income, their nuclear plants have died. The ion collectors are dying. The basalt platforms were always going to be dead. So he's just in steel, really.
Or, you know, you got two robots that don't have Zorbaz's HQ4, which means they might pay off quicker.
The black market is online.
They have. He's also not spent anything on the... What the hell are you doing, Pavlos? Oh my god, look at Pavlos. He's got two nuclear plants that are disguised to look like steel mills. This is... I don't see this very often.
Ah, yeah, it's the old DT special.
The DT special.
Unfortunately...
If only they were actually valuable.
Yeah, not currently valuable, because power price is deader than dead.
Deader than dead. Everyone went into power and it died.
This is a very odd IO map, simply because the prices are mostly so low. You don't see that super often on IO. Way more often than on series, but
you've got to use that tab button. You've got to look into everyone else's HQs and be like, oh, 3 other people are in power. Maybe I shouldn't be.
All right, EvilDiablo has 120k in cash. It's time to do something with that.
Don't bait. Well, okay. Don't buy yourself. Don't defend yourself before you go for this. No, they can't stop you. There's nothing they can do to stop you. Okay, he's going straight into it. The expansive did just go to HQ4, so he's just going to punish that. There we go. That's good. The expansive has spent a lot of their claims on the solar condensers, unfortunately. So the substrate is not going to pay itself off for a long time, but it will eventually pay itself off.
Collinize will be the first to fall. Some late black market on EvilDiablo, but the black market, the nuke didn't happen until after EvilDiablo's HQ5. And I will say, Gameslayer, when you are going for a buyout, you buy that one share of stock in yourself.
Yes, you do. I was worried though that it was a precursor to him just buying himself up to full, because he had the money, but he didn't immediately start buying someone else.
Let me explain why you do that, just for if anyone's not aware. So as you buy into someone else, the first 5 shares, your stock price will increase. If you don't quite have enough money to buy them out, by buying with 1 share of yourself, you can then sell out of that share and make a very small profit. However, pushes you out to the edge. Now we do have more black market coming down. EvilDiablo, some more nukes on.
Frozen out on Zorbaz. He's got his base all tied up together. That's going to be a problem.
Yes, the question is, what can Pavlos and Zorbaz catch up to EvilDiablo in this game?
Well, they need to get to HQ5, and they can't afford to get to HQ5 because then he'll just buy them. So they're in a very awkward spot right now. I don't want to say it's over before the fat lady sings, but this is a very difficult spot. They need to basically both upgrade at the same time because you can only kill one of them at a time.
Now, the only saving grace for them is EvilDiablo's tiles, with the exception of these chems and farms, are not making that much money.
He's moving into glass right now. Glass is profitable. He doesn't need to be that profitable. He just needs to be as profitable as more profitable than his teammates. Like 65k, that's That's not enough to make a run on Pavlos. Okay, never mind. But it's a good amount of money there, you know. I will say, by the way, I was going to say earlier, the share strategy, it only works if you get one stock. If you go into a second stock of yourself before you do it, you end up at a loss because you do sell your own stock at a slight loss overall of what the price compared to what other people would sell. Like if you just buy your stock and then sell it immediately, you will make a slight loss. So you can only really do that with the first stock that you buy.
Zorbaz nuke Pavlos? You realize that's counterproductive to either of you winning.
Maybe he thinks he has more money than more revenue than Pavlos at this point. Wants EvilDiablo to kill him so Zorbaz can get second place.
Well, Zorbaz is going into a space elevator.
I mean, that's a crazy thing that just might work.
Especially if nobody notices. It is disguised as a steel mill.
He did go for that transparent aluminium, which we did miss out on. Superconductor picked up Pavlos, Zorbaz went for transparent aluminium. That superconductor is very powerful on IO. I love superconductor on IO, but a little bit late.
Yeah, transparent aluminum is also way too good on IO for the amount of value you get, mainly because of the space elevator. Unlike off-road markets, space elevators cost 200 steel, 200 aluminum, and 200 glass. So now it's 400 aluminum, 200 steel, and we can see...
And the aluminium price was a lot less because EvilDiablo was using it to fuel his war machine.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Now, the only problem with going for that space elevator for Zorbaz is a lot of his money is wrapped up in that space elevator, and EvilDiablo almost has enough cash to take him out.
I mean, he did just spend 40k on perpetual motion, but I don't consider that to be a bad thing necessarily because Pavlos did just go into superconductor, so you just want to make sure that money price is dead.
Alright, the nukes keep on flying. They're flying so fast, I'm not even sure who's nuking who right now. EvilDiablo getting nuked by Pavlos, Pavlos getting nuked by EvilDiablo, space elevator. Online.
Everyone's fighting over this carbon. EvilDiablo doesn't have any of it right now, but he is hacking it, and he's about to make a lot of money off of this hack.
Manipulations to begin shortly.
33k launch for fuel for Zorbaz. So if Zorbaz can get a couple of those before EvilDiablo realizes that EvilDiablo has 100% on Zorbaz, then they might be able to do something. But the question is, will EvilDiablo realize they have 100%?
I mean, from EvilDiablo's perspective, if you don't know that there's a space elevator there, you're gonna go for Pavlos, aren't you? Although Pavlos can defend themselves.
You can... So somebody gets transparent aluminum early and they don't upgrade to HQ5, that's a little bit of a tell.
Yes, that's a little bit of a tell, but come on, it's very difficult to notice in the heat of things, right?
It is difficult to notice, yes.
He's busy using his nukes and making a huge carbon play, which has been very successful.
Going into Zorbaz, but Zorbaz does have enough money to defend themselves. So just a little bit too late there. Zorbaz does have that space elevator up, which is earning $400 a second. Unfortunately, Zorbaz has queued up a 37, 35, and 24k profit launch, and the 24k one is currently launching.
You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that at all. EvilDiablo is doing the correct thing, I think, by selling out right now. He needs to make sure he has as much money available as possible for these hacks to fuel this war machine going off, and he's not committing as hard as I would like him to commit. He only sold one stock out.
Going into some auto-offing electronics factories. Curious decision. That's a negative 69 per tile without the adjacency bonus.
I mean, that will become profitable once he sells out of this carbon. He's decided at this point it's too hard to keep the carbon gone. Other people are making that stuff. Did anyone? No one used their pattern labs for anything else, despite the fact that Pavlos' pattern lab is still up. Oh no, it just looks like a pattern lab. No, it's up. He is now going nanotech, yeah. Oh no, my mistake. Pavlos did just finish liquid batteries. I was just in that between process where thing was ending as another was starting.
Yep, Collinize has a space elevator up. Something that you could consider if you are Zorbaz or Pavlos, just blowing that up with dynamite.
That is very true. It's also in a very nice spot. It's like you can just move the camera so it looks like it's coming straight out of the base. It's kind of cool.
Pirates.
I like that.
I
Yeah.
hate those filthy bandits.
But yeah, he's been HQ4 for a long time, this subsidiary. Decided to just not upgrade, instead go for the space elevator, which, I mean, the space elevator does make a lot of money, 590 a second. I mean, that you can't sniff at that.
No, you can't. Zorbaz finally launching a profitable launch, so we can see that the space elevator now making 600 a second instead of the 4 something that it was before. Pavlos moving into a space elevator of themselves, hologrammed, disguised as a steel mill. EvilDiablo has a space elevator too, so everyone has a space elevator.
But it got froze out. It got
Yeah.
froze out, though. It's not finished building, so I mean, he can cancel that, and he might want to, but he got rid of the hacker array. Oh no, he's decided he's going to try and play for the late game instead, which, I mean, it's safe. It is safe, but it's not very fun, Diablo. Come on.
Yeah, it's safe. You could... So Collinize isn't making that much money, so maybe you just don't buy into those remaining 4 shares. Maybe you do. I'm not quite certain what the best play is for that in that case.
I mean, they're not too expensive considering he uses silicon instead of, you know, steel, but still not great. I mean, the 200 glass is a big deal, right? Zorbaz was able to negate that, but everyone else not so much. Ooh, Zorbaz, he's actually going to do a carbon hack himself. Risky considering EvilDiablo had the stockpile, but he sold out, and so Zorbaz feels like it's time for him to sneak in another one for himself. And I like that play.
Yeah, Zorbaz is quietly earning, well, not as much cash as EvilDiablo,
Space elevator delivery.
because EvilDiablo has a good amount of money tied up in Zorbaz's stock. But
It's good.
Pavlos and Zorbaz may yet make a game out of this. We'll have to coordinate on the buy on EvilDiablo, I think.
You gotta ask though, has Zorbaz forgot he's only HQ4?
That is a good question. It does cost 62k to upgrade and get 5 more claims. The prices are rising, so I think that's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, food is okay still, like water is okay, but then there's the glass, which is over 115.
And
I guess he doesn't have any
90.
Well,
Aluminum.
the subsidiary has silicon, right? You can subsidize it with the subsidiary.
There was somebody. Pavlos has spotted EvilDiablo's space elevator.
Absolutely. Which
Somebody-
is still not finished.
EvilDiablo spotted Zorbaz's space elevator.
But
And,
Pavlos is now into 2 space elevators.
Nobody has spotted Pavlos's 2 space elevators, although
And Pavlos is suddenly looking a lot more powerful. He managed to get up a 2nd space elevator,
One of them-
which is surprising considering
two patent
you'd expect
labs,
Zorbaz. You'd expect Zorbaz to be able to upgrade and get into a 2nd one in time, but nope. Pavlos managed to get into it.
yeah, one of them is disguised as a second patent lab, and that first patent lab is just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, that's a bit awkward. It might make someone go like, "Hey, I'm going to spy out that first patent lab and see the next to it space elevator," which would be very annoying.
So EvilDiablo sneaking up on a buy on Zorbaz, slowly but surely, 60% of the way. Zorbaz has a lot of 64% of the buy on Pavlos.
Ooh, the first dynamite goes off, but that is cheap to repair. That is cheap to repair because he doesn't have to spend the glass for it. But he's getting... Whoa, he's getting risky. He's like, hey, Pavlos, let's split this guy between us. Which Pavlos is going to just accept because Zorbaz is still only HQ4.
Or Pavlos is going to defend themselves. Which
I think that's the correct play. I think at this point that is the correct play because it forces Zorbaz to have to put the rest of their money into EvilDiablo first, right? And that means Zorbaz is out of the picture, then Pavlos can just, at his leisure, effectively sell out of his own stock and buy into EvilDiablo. I think forcing the two to be in a neck-and-neck confrontation like that allows Pavlos a lot of options.
yeah, they just have to hope that Zorbaz actually continues buying up EvilDiablo's stock.
Right, because as Zorbaz at this point, maybe you just want to sell out of EvilDiablo and go, okay, fine, Pavlos, if you're going to do that, I'm just going to upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, upgrading's still probably a good idea. Zorbaz has a lot of money sitting here in carbon.
A lot of money in carbon, and other people are making carbon money, so that profit is just going to go down and down. There we go. He sells out. But he's selling out to buy into Diablo. He's really hoping Pavlos gives him something here.
Well, Pavlos decided to tip his hand by purchasing 1 share, so it looks like we do have the 2 second-place players thinking about ganging up against the leader. However, the leader is 68% of the way onto Zorbaz, so Pavlos probably needs to sell out of their shares now. What do they need? They need 800k to make the buy. They have
200 sitting in.
So selling out of their shares to get them another...
Oh my god, that's a good point, Pavlos. Well spotted. Why is fuel this high?
Yeah, why is fuel that high?
Oh, because carbon's that high, and people have been keeping carbon too expensive, so no one's been wanting to build more. But wow, that is really high. Oh, Zorbaz upgraded. That means it's going to be even more expensive for Diablo to buy into him. Might give Pavlos the time he needs, but might not.
Yeah, I mean, 86% of the way for EvilDiablo. It just depends on how much Zorbaz's share price rises, and right now, EvilDiablo's cash is rising faster.
Okay, good. He noticed. He had 2 more fuel launches stocked up there when they were not profitable. But he sold out of that. Good. He's kept his money. He's got a lot of money.
Diablo just
but Diablo's got
repaired that space elevator, but doesn't matter.
I mean, I might have wanted to repair that space elevator first, honestly. That is an expensive thing to repair.
Well, he repaired it, and as soon as it finished repairing, Pavlos blew it up.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. I thought he chose to buy instead of repair. What do you do as Pavlos now? He's buying into Collinize, who is now HQ5.
I guess.
But the longer this goes on, the better it's going to be for Diablo, right? Like,
yes.
You've got a lot of early stat cash, but then again, what else are you going to spend your money on? Because Diablo's selling out. Wow, okay. He's like, no, I've got this. Don't worry. He's just not going to even repair his, he's not even repairing his space elevator. He's just like, I've got subsidiaries that are going to lead me to victory, and that's not a good choice. Pavlos still is in this.
Pavlos is still in this. EvilDiablo is only making 1.4k off of Collinize, making 500 off of Zorbaz. That'll continue to increase a little bit. Pavlos does have all of EvilDiablo, but I'm not sure what do right now.
EvilDiablo is effectively 300k behind in cash right now. Will that be enough though? Because he's also a lot higher in stock. Yeah, so I mean, buying into Collinize isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's gonna pay itself off. If you buy in right now, it will pay itself off by the time the game finishes, but not by much.
Yeah, I mean, what it does is it also increases your stock price. Yes. So if you did that before EvilDiablo finished paying double for you, then it definitely could probably be worth it.
Yep, each buy is in itself another like 4k swing that EvilDiablo has to buy. And that's good for you, slowing him down as much as possible. You are halfway there at this point, Pavlos. You can definitely make a game off of this. Yes. Really punish EvilDiablo for selling out of his stock early.
Maybe some more black market. We do have 30k.
Oh,
power
there
surges,
we go.
Some more
hit the space elevator as soon as Diablo starts repairing it.
EvilDiablo might want to think about buying a 30k goon to put on in the space elevator.
Or maybe even a 30k power surge to just rip through all of this production he's got going on.
Yeah, I think. Yep, there's plenty of production that can be hit here on Pavlos' territory.
Those 3 water processors, 3 solar condensers, they're all making a lot of money as well. I mean, the 6 of them combined is more than a space elevator. Okay, never mind. They're not. They're about 3/4 of a space elevator, but you know, it's still a lot. Food has become this huge storage. I didn't even notice that.
Let's talk a little bit about optimizations. EvilDiablo went into a perfect food, which seems a bit excessive given the price of chemicals.
I mean, it would pay itself off very heavily here because everyone's launching food at this point, but he's also selling.
Yeah, so
Like if he wasn't auto selling right now, he could make a lot of money off of Pavlos, off of Pavlos, because Pavlos would be launching food but having to buy it. But instead, Pavlos is able to buy a much cheaper
this is
value.
where if I'm the EvilDiablo, I might think about buying into Collinize just to raise my share price and maybe extend the game long enough so I can catch up. But
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, there we go.
not gonna matter
Cancels the
because
launches.
launches come
There
out
we go.
and
Well done.
Pavlos gets the
Well done,
victory.
Pavlos. EvilDiablo just being a little too greedy and selling out that stock, thinking he had the win when Pavlos was well suited to going into this in the late game.
Yeah, that was
Of course, Diablo, despite the spies being quite cheap on the market, Diablo never knew of any of the space elevators.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's definitely an issue. You know, if Pavlos is getting that amount of money that quick, you know that Pavlos has some space elevators. There's still really cheap dynamites. Repairing a space elevator at the end of the game would have cost $60K to repair.
Network viruses can pop off the goons very easily.
And Pavlos is so blobbed that, one corporate spy is going to cover so much territory. You're more likely than not going to find one, especially if you remember about that, suspicious second patent lab if you were paying attention.
Yes. I mean, fair's fair, Pavlos did get thinking machines, but even with thinking machines, it's still a good 50 glass to repair, which is not cheap.
Yeah, but moreover, they aren't launching while they're repairing, and we're talking 63K profit launches at the end of the game. So 30K dynamite to keep your opponent from getting a 63K launch off, that seems worth it to me.
Definitely.
Then that
But
would
again, once you bought Zorbaz, buying into Collinize would have also paid itself off very nicely.
Yes. Yep, once Collinize started making EvilDiablo money, with 2 space elevators up that everyone was ignoring, that would have raised EvilDiablo's stock price, and then would have allowed EvilDiablo some more time, maybe to catch up to Pavlos, maybe seal the deal. So just, once again, it's Awful Trading Company. These small little mistakes in the mid-game add up to the end and sometimes decide the game.
I mean, that's money, right? It's compound interest.